This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
We're recording. Yoga.
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, the best-looking guys on the radio. We all know the funniest things happen when we stop taking ourselves too seriously and step out boldly, like Mr. Magoo blindly stepping onto the next swinging girder and falling into an outrageous jackpot. Your hosts, Daryl and Ed, are about to administer a refreshing dose of laughter and love that will inspire you to step out boldly and experience the funniest things.
Daryl gets angry
now,
when people
you're
do
your
this stuff.
hosts, Daryl and
Getting ready
Ed.
for the show.
Welcome to Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
You are not kidding.
I'm Daryl.
And I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from middle school studios in downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
And let us not forget to mention that we are broadcasting internationally to over 170 countries, all 50 states.
Yes, we have fans on our Facebook page.
Unity Online
from
Radio.
someone from each and every state in the union.
That's right. Unity Online Radio is the well from which so many of the new thought type shows, Hay House,
Yes.
these type things. A lot of that information comes straight from Unity.
So welcome to the source.
That's
and
right.
speaking of sources, today's topic is let go and let God do it.
That's right. This is a great show because the greatest freedom comes from the knowledge that God is on our side, which means life is on our side.
Yes.
Constantly making arrangements on our behalf. Trusting God makes it easy to relax and release our concerns. And during the second segment, U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran and a creator of the Cigars and Sea Stories podcast, Michael Penney, will drop in to read and discuss today's daily word, let go and let God.
Yes. And you could go to our website, darylanded.com. If you like today's show,
Yes.
you could see the entire script, which will have all the readings. If you heard something, you don't have to panic that you didn't jot it down or
Yes.
where it came from. Just go to darylanded.com, press on show scripts, and you'll see everything we read from today that you could have at your disposal.
Yeah. And
Oh, I brought that up. You know why?
Why?
Because last week we got so excited at the beginning of our show. We had a funniest thing first where we forgot to do our 3 breaths.
Oh, yeah, true.
So I thought I'd mention that now.
Yeah, because you did embed it. We do have a YouTube video of the 3 breaths from last week on the show script page.
Thanks to help from our...
Chief engineer.
That's right. Jeff Comfort.
If you don't call him chief, he gets angry.
I'm very upset. So
Yeah.
you want to do those breaths so I don't forget them? Because they're so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So today's episode is so good because, let me just say this. Let go. We call this show Let Go and Let God Do It. A lot of people say let go and let God. And did you hear this or you added it?
No, I added it, remember?
I know, I just couldn't remember. I want to give
Because-
credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I could have heard it somewhere, but I don't think so. I think I was some way... I might have heard it, but...
But adding those 2 words, let go,
Yes.
let God do it, for some reason, like really brings it home. Because you can say let go and let God, and it kind of leaves you like, there's this empty space there. Let God do what?
Well, it's implied.
Yeah.
But I think somehow I was laying around one day, or I don't know how it came up. I don't know if I was reading an Emmett Fox and it inspired the idea, but I go, let go and let God do it. It just feels so good.
Yeah.
Saying that because that's really what it implies.
Right.
But adding those 2 words
Yes.
seem to alleviate all my concerns.
That's right. Because we receive so much all of our inspiration and best ideas come from God. But in order to really see them come into our lives, we have to go about living joyfully and being kind to the people around us so that we're receptive. And a big part, so we can't be all wound up worrying about how things are going to happen. Actually, there's a 18 Days with Daryl and Ed on our Facebook page and soon to be on our website and at our YouTube page. That's really a good tool to get into the flow of letting go, so that we can keep living our lives while all these great things are happening, while God's providing us with all these amazing things. We got to be in an open, kind, loving, receptive state. And so,
how can we do that?
That's right. And Daryl came up with these breaths while he was down in San Diego. He's going to tell the story in a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
And but it's simple. It's as simple as this. If you find yourself, or just even just starting your day, or anytime during the day where you need to like get refresh and relax and get into the flow of life, this will work. So let's take a breath to clear our mind first. I let it go and let it rip.
I let it go and let it rip.
I let it go and let it rip. Nice. Well, I think another, going back to the title, Let It Go and Letting God Do It. Part of this, why the do it is so good, is that it's like letting it rip. It's like, let the good stuff happen. This is going to be amazing. There's some Emmett Fox reading about that, right? About how it's wonderful. You know, like people think like something about
that God's will for us must be something that's very dour and, you know, arduous, and service means it's something you don't really want to do but should do. Right. When really that's not true. There's joy is there. The Bible has more references to joy, I think, than anything else. Right. And that God's will is joy. God is love. It doesn't say God is punishment. That's right. It doesn't say God is hard.
That's what I was thinking about.
It doesn't say God is struggle.
Right.
Or God means endure things. But that's what I used to think. And that's why it was hard to let go and let God do it. I was telling you, it dawned on me, you know, because people go, do you believe in God? Or, you know, do you have a higher power? And sometimes I would think, well, when I was younger, I would say, oh, yeah, I believe in God. But I didn't really believe in this God I believe in now, which is very positive with nothing negative and very supportive and wants health and abundance and prosperity. And that's what it is. It's like life. It keeps wanting to live and give and grow, right? It's abundant. Yeah. Instead, it dawned on me clearly what I really believed in, what my higher power was impending doom. Yes. And how do I know that was my higher? Because I always felt tense, worried, concerned. Right. You know, and people go, well, just trust God. I'm like, okay. But it was impossible for me to trust God. And I was always thinking I had to control things. I was always overly concerned. One of the tools, before I forget to mention it, about letting go and letting God do it, is a God box. Yes. You know, this is my wife, Lori's. And this is mine, just an old cigar box. Anything will do. A garbage can I've used a laundry hamper. And all it is just the act of writing down in a positive way whatever's concerning you. And what do I mean? Like if I'm worried about, you know, oh my God, are we going to have enough money for this or for that? I just go, we'll have plenty of money right when we need it. You know, it's in your hands. I can let this go and trust in you, and throw it in the God box. You know, if it's something you'd like in your life, a dream, be specific, be outrageous. Yes. You know, I'd love this. I would like that. Like, be extravagant in writing it down, and then throw it in there and go, this or something better. Always in the perfect timing. Yes. And what happens is it treats the concern. That's what letting go does. Like, it's not about trying to figure out how I'm going to fix it, or I'm going to
how I'm going to get it.
How I'm going to get it, or how I'm going to force it, or how I'm going to win you over, or how I'm going to get this person to do the things I think they should do. Yes. That's getting in the way of what I want to do. Right. All we need to do, and this is the great truth about letting go, is all we really need to do is treat the concern. I mean, give over the concern.
Dude, I'm glad you're saying this. This is real. Like we just got done with our own. We just did the 18-day meditation thing ourselves. It's still coming out on Facebook day by day. But the thing that's emphasized on there is: do we want conflict or do we want peace? And in order to be in a peaceful state, it's about being in a state of giving. Yes. And when we think we need to do the work to get because a dream can turn into a nightmare the moment that I think I have to do it and I start worrying about how to get it. And this is the thing, when I'm listening to you talk, I realize when one of the things that's emphasized in these meditations is, how do I like joyfully anticipate that my good's coming without getting stingy and holding on to everything until it happens and trying to calculate who's going to be, and the way to do it is to just let go and just let God do it, and then joyfully appreciate. And this is there's a quick few lines from this. This is why I like these lines, because it talks about having a childlike faith.
Right.
And people actually refer to you and I a lot like we're the way we laugh and and run around and like we're kids.
I know. I got worried about that earlier when one of our fans actually was sharing our podcast with one of her friends on Facebook and said, these guys are funny, but trust me, they're good. It kind of made me go, are we not serious enough?
Well, how about me? I'm walking down the street yesterday, and there's a guy who looked like homeless, perhaps, and he's talking like Popeye underneath his breath. Right. And he's like, I'm going to kick this guy's ass. Look at him. He's acting like a 2-year-old. And this guy was like 6.5 feet tall. I was like, whoa. I started laughing, and then he goes, you're laughing now. I was walking down the street with my wife, and I said, well, childlike faith. I guess that's a good...
And look, you actually slayed Goliath because nothing happened.
I know. I blessed him. I actually wanted to hug him after my first little twinge of wanting to... Because I thought about our meditation. I said, I don't want conflict. So anyway, so on page 443 of Science of Mind, this is really good for letting go and letting God do it. It says, Jesus tells us that the childlike mind is more receptive to truth than the over-intellectual who demand too rational an explanation of those truths, which must be accepted on faith alone. What man can explain why he lives? The self-evident fact of living is the only explanation possible or necessary.
And you know what? I'm going to follow it up with this, because this is a great one. And like you're saying, how do we treat the concern?
Yeah.
Get into a thought process of giving.
Love.
As soon as I get out of, that feeling of concern and I start thinking of ways I can contribute to the situation in a positive way. And it doesn't necessarily mean physical action. It could just mean blessing it in my mind, giving it my blessing.
That's true. And it also starts with even giving over our concerns to God.
Yes.
Instead of holding on to them. That can even be the thing that kicks off the whole giving process.
And what helps me today, turn it over and trust that God will do it, and that God will do it in a wonderful way.
Right.
Not in a way that's going to be more detrimental to me, but a way that will be surprisingly better than expected.
That's why I like the let it rip, let it go, and let it rip. We're talking
because
about
it's like
letting
exhilarating.
It go. Exactly.
It's like, I'm taking my hands off the wheel,
yes.
and it's really committing to trusting.
Yes.
And that's when the magic happens. And I'm just going to follow that up with a reading from Emmett Fox. This is from Around the Year with Emmett Fox, and it says, and this is one that helps me trust in it. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. And real quick, I just had an amazing experience with this over the weekend.
Yeah, let's not say it real quick, because this is what you experience is such a great example that everyone can relate to.
Yes, and everyone can experience.
Yes.
And what happened was I was invited what I thought was going to be a great 4-day or 5-day weekend almost, starting on Thursday of last week, right after we did our show, of this Tiki Oasis in San Diego. And it was just a whole 5 days committed to all this cool Tiki stuff and music. And I was going with a great friend of mine I used to work with in television before we started doing this show. Mm-hmm. And I get down there and I wake up the second day, which was Friday, it was just a devastating migraine headache. And I get these from time to time when my neck gets misaligned. Mm-hmm. And it is, I don't wish this on anyone. It feels like the worst hangover you have ever had. I'm nauseous and my head's throbbing. I feel chills and sweat. So, the guys went down to do their thing, and I said, I gotta relax. I gotta do something. And I knew that what's the only thing that I can do? Turn it over. So I started meditating, and I immediately, when you calm down, it's almost like God will reveal. The healing power will start to register of how to let it go. And I just felt the migraine as resistance. You know what I mean? So I just started in my mind, I would just keep saying, God's love flows through me freely. God love, with each breath, I breathe in, God's love flows through me freely. And I did this for about 20 minutes, and I started to feel a little better. But I knew I needed to move around, get a coffee, have some aspirin.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, I end up, not really enjoying the symposiums that I thought I would enjoy about Honolulu architecture. And I spent a lot of time there, and it means a lot to me. And I tried to enjoy it as much as I could, but my mind was preoccupied with the feeling of this migraine. And after that was for some reason, which is definitely how God's love flows through us and guides us, I was drawn to go sit, like we had the pool, everyone's by the pool, but for some reason I was guided to go out front and sit, underneath where the bell stand is and the awning of the hotel, and there was a breeze there. I mean, it was a nice exterior.
Now, did you mention that you had left your car in Anaheim?
Oh my God, yes. Now here's so
that's another
the overwhelming problem I thought I was having to deal with. I'm going, now this is where the me part comes in, where the fear, the concern. I'm stuck here in San Diego, 2.5 hours away from my home, and that's without traffic. My car is an hour away from my home in another city, Anaheim.
Right.
And I drove down with other people. Lori was working. I couldn't expect her to drive 5 hours to come get me and bring me back.
Right.
And this was an out-of-the-way hotel. It wasn't like near a train or a bus stop. So I just had to keep surrendering. And I was guided to go sit outside, and they had this foil wrapped, because it was all space and, tiki, and the theme was space age, 1940s and 50s. So they had foil to wrap your stuff in to make it look like space stuff. So I'll just sit outside, I'll do something creative. I'll wrap my sunglasses and turn them into astronaut glasses, because they'll be wrapped in foil.
Right.
I was just trying to make, be giving, creative. Don't complain. Just get into something creative. I was doing everything I could. And then I text Ed.
Yes.
And I text Ed, like simply saying, note to self, never leave home again, or something like that. Just something silly. And he, without me knowing it, texted back a thumbs up. Well, in between my text to Ed and his thumbs up, a guy, and I'm wrapping my sunglasses, a guy sits down next to me.
Yes.
There's no one else out there. And it was someone I knew from a restaurant near the old TV station I worked at.
Oh, my God.
And this is years ago. This is like 6 years ago. And I said, oh, my God, what are you doing here? He says, oh, I'm about to leave.
Yes.
And for some reason, God brewed up inside me. He said, well, where do you live? He goes, oh, Chatsworth, which is further but in my direction.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, well, can I go with you? He goes, oh, yeah. And to make a long story short, he couldn't get back in. I had the weekend pass, that all access. We jump in his car. We start heading home.
Yes.
And I told him, well, I guess I'll come back. My car's in Anaheim. I'm just chit-chatting to keep my mind off my headache. And he goes, well, I'll drive you to Anaheim.
Right.
So now this is another problem solved.
Yes.
And he said, wait a minute. Can I use your wristband? Because I'll come back. I get to the parking garage in Anaheim, because he wanted to experience some of the other things, but he signed up too late and couldn't get the 3-day pass. So he drops me off at the parking garage in Anaheim at City Hall, where I met my friend who works there, and I had my friend's parking pass to park at City Hall. How am I going to get this back to my friend by Monday? He's all the way back in San Diego.
Right.
And as I'm thinking that, and I'm thinking about it, this guy goes, oh, you want me to bring that back there? I'll drop it off at the front desk at the hotel. And I was like, you're going to go back there now? He goes, yeah, because I want to go to these other symposiums, and now thanks to you, I can go.
Oh, my goodness.
So I ended up home within just in a miraculous way. My friends in Anaheim, the guy who brought me there, my friends in San Diego, and the guy who works in Anaheim, could not believe that by 9 o'clock at night, I was already at home and they had their parking pass and my hotel key back in San Diego.
Amazing.
It was miraculous.
Amazing. You did what... We got that real quick quote from Abraham Hicks, and then we're going to go to a break. And they said, no matter what the issue is, don't try to justify why you don't feel good. And don't try to justify why you should feel differently. Don't try to blame whatever it is you think the reason is that keeps you from feeling good. All of that is wasted effort. Just try to feel better right now.
Yes!
And that's what you
Just
did.
keep trying to do what you can do with what you have in the moment that you know will bring you as much peace as possible.
That's
Instead
right.
of arguing with it or competing
Yes.
with it. You know,
It's
just
awesome.
go with that flow, do what you can, and miracles happen. That's what we mean by stepping out boldly.
Yes.
We mean going from fearful thinking to faithful thinking.
That's right.
That's what we mean by stepping out boldly.
That's when you let it rip.
rip.
Coming up next, U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran and a creator of the Cigars and Sea Stories podcast, which Daryl was on recently, Michael Penney, drops in to read and discuss today's daily word, Let Go, Let God. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
This one is
Our
called the
station
Pants.
manager,
Take
Mr.
eight.
French, was getting concerned about us going to the break. Did you hear him?
I know, he's barking.
He got very upset that we went a little over.
I don't blame him.
Oh, look who it is!
Wow.
Oh my God, does he know how to work his camera? This guy's a Marine, remember? He can tear your heart out and stuff it, show it to you, and then stuff it back in your chest and re-sew you up and send you on your way. But, you know, simple things like this are hard for these guys. We see his face.
Hello.
Oh my God, thank God you didn't hear what I just said about you.
Oh, thank goodness.
I was a little concerned when I saw the pinwheel. I said, you know, this guy's a combat veteran Marine.
Right.
I go, these guys can tear your lungs out, tie them around your neck, throw you in a pool of water, keep you afloat with them, and then put them back in, sew you up, resuscitate you, pat you on your back, give you a hug, and send you on your way. But when it comes to working something simple, they're stuck.
Yeah, it's not a piece of green gear. It's not, it's not standard communication in the field. So I got ready at about noon.
All right.
Make sure everything's okay.
Oh, sounds good, too.
I know. You sound great. You look good. Now you finally got to meet Ed in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
dude.
It's a privilege.
Oh, likewise, man. We are stoked you're here.
And
Don't.
yeah, here
oh.
we go.
Here we go.
Oh, we're coming back. Okay.
You're listening to
About
Funniest
social
Thing with Daryl and
anxiety
Ed, the
letter.
best looking guys
Ask
on
us
the radio.
questions.
If you have a question or comment about today's show,
do that
or
an
if
hour
you'd like
later.
to join in the discussion,
We could do
friend
it
us
later.
on Facebook at Funniest Thing with
Let me go
Daryl and
with
Ed,
mail.
or email us at funniestthing at
do it now.
unityonlineradio.org. Now, back to Funniest Thing.
All right, we made it back. We're on the ground running. Today's topic is let go and let God do it.
Oh my God, we used to think we were just two lazy bums when we used to think this way, but now
Oh.
it's proving to be true.
Oh, yeah, man.
When we dummy down, let go of figuring it out, let go of we are not capable of knowing how the miracles are going to occur, but when we just have the faith that they are going to, that to me is what this is all about.
Well, and also, when you do this enough, it makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
Because when I'm letting go of my concerns to God, my performance improves.
Yes.
So it's like in the moment, the things that I was concerned about,
Yeah.
I tend to be able to move through a little more effortlessly
Yes.
because I've thrown away the concern.
Yes.
I used to think if I wasn't worrying,
Yes.
like if I wasn't concerned, then that means I wasn't taking things serious enough.
Yes.
But all I was doing was constricting the creative flow.
Yes.
You know, all the divine guidance is now cut off.
That's kind of like what we were just talking about earlier, and that's why I love, again, the 18 Days with Daryl and Ed meditations for myself, was that it really was clear. Am I planning for peace and success, or am I planning for conflict? In which, so like sometimes there's, like we were talking about, an adrenal rush of like, yeah, I'm going to crush this conflict, you know? So there's like this up and down of like being really stressed out and then being relieved that you've defeated it. But there's a whole nother way of doing things, which is just a plan for a peaceful, successful day.
Yes.
in which God's going to do, the heavy lifting, as they say. And
Well, yeah, a quick affirmation I use a lot of the times when I feel that, like if I had to write an article on Mr. French for the My Old Dog website.
I can't wait to read it.
Oh, it comes out this Friday. And I started to feel like that, excited, but like pressure.
That's right.
And I had to let it be easy. Let it be easy.
That's
Just
right.
remind myself, let it be easy. God works with ease.
That's right. And putting a smile on our face.
Oh, my God.
Doing anything we're doing, because it's easy to get all tense, even if it's something we enjoy, but actually just dropping your shoulders and smiling and doing the same action, it loosens the grip. It lets life flow through, and then it just makes everything go smoother, and my success rate always goes up.
Always. So what? Oh, this is the best time of the show.
Thank the listeners.
Yes, we love our listeners.
We do love our listeners.
The only thing we love as much as our listeners is the fan mail we get from our listeners.
We have a great mailbag in the third segment this week. We even got a great question from a fan regarding social anxiety and affirmations
that they could use.
Yeah, and do you have a couple of those that we could share?
Well, you know what? I got
or a recommendation for people.
Yeah,
where they can get them.
Yeah, because another thing is, if you have questions like that, please.
Oh yes.
Email us. Go to our website, darylned.com, because we enjoy doing this. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
This gets us giving, and it makes us feel good, and it makes our lives better.
And social anxiety is something that we both experienced and are always using these tools to move through and redefining what social anxiety even is, because sometimes our little inner indicators are telling us, like, this isn't where I want to be, and that can cause the feeling of anxiety, or if we haven't been checking in with ourselves. And the more we practice this stuff, the more we end up in better situations, which is one thing that helps. And the other thing is our attitude toward the people around us, no matter where we are, starts to become more peaceful, because we don't have to put on a show, or we know God's doing the heavy lifting.
And so I sent her a few I sent them a few affirmations from Your Word Is Your Wand that are our favorites, because I said Ed and I suffer from this just as much as anyone else.
That's right.
And one of them was, I let go of everything not divinely designed for me, and the perfect plan of my life now comes to pass. Another one was, I cast every burden on the Christ within, and I go free.
Yes.
And these were just a few. I'll make sure these are all on our website.
There's a link to Florence Scovelshire website that's already on our Facebook page, and you can embed that in the script page as well. And also, you're not crazy. If you're experiencing all that stuff, it's all part of the clearing out of our consciousness. It's all part of just learning to honor ourselves. It's all part of just life. So if you're feeling that kind of stuff, especially if you're on this path, you're not crazy. The support is there, no matter what it looks like.
It's actually a good sign, because it means it's coming up out of your subconscious to be blessed and let go.
Yeah.
It's actually part of the healing. It's it's like pus out of a wound.
Yeah.
So congratulate it, bless it, and be like, wow, okay, this means I'm moving to a higher level.
Right. And we've had success with professional counselor. The both of us have gone through that, and all the different avenues. So you're on the right track. So let's see. Check out our website, darylned.com, for more of this great stuff. Oh, let's thank our chief engineer.
That's right.
Jeff Comfort.
Because each week
he takes us
right into the comfort zone. Yeah.
Dude, thank God he's still with us. Last week, there was a moment where
he passed out. He had a giant gummy bear, or gummy snake or something, and he was out cold. And we thought, actually, Ed got afraid that he actually died.
Yeah, we thought it was a Weekend at Bernie's type thing. And the weird thing was his hair started, we both had the same thought. Remember, it started to look like a puppet face?
No, his hair started to look like looking at the back of Burt Bacharach's head.
Yeah,
it was no longer sandy blonde. It turned into like a 70s,
it was weird.
Burt Bacharach hairstyle.
And we both had that thought, but we only knew about it later. All right, let's give a shout out to the prayer line, 800-NOW-PRAY, 800-669-7729. I used it this week. There's an app, the You Pray app, the letter U, Pray. It's a free app. I sent my prayer in because some stuff was going on with my father. He had some brain surgery, and they had put some wires in his brain, these stimulator things, and one of them got exposed, through the skin. So there's all this stuff going on. But I sent a letter to the You Pray app, and immediately things started to
instantaneously.
turn around for the better
Well,
so.
as soon as you did the You Pray app, you called me like 10 minutes later and said, "Guess what? My mom just won $2,500
in Vegas.
in Vegas."
Because that was part of it. They were in Vegas. They needed to come home. But on their way out, they won like $2,700 jackpot. And that just elevated my mom's spirits immediately like nothing else could have. So please send love to my father because he's going to have another procedure to clear all that up with grace and ease. And
Yes, and it's going to be, and he's going to be restored to perfect health.
He'll be better for it.
And all these places we direct you to, whenever we say a website, phone number, none of these things are sign you up for emails you don't want.
Yes.
Because we don't enjoy that stuff either. You just, even the You Pray app, if you like it, they'll send you just one positive affirmation about your request.
Well, they send you a
and
nice
that's
letter,
it.
a
Yeah,
loving
the
letter that says we're praying with you.
But
there's a good affirmation in there, but it's just a purely positive, loving letter that I got mine yesterday and I read it through, and it's just another boost that reminded me that all is well, that God's doing it, that I can just relax, that I don't have to like me freaking out. It's not going to help the situation, but actually by me standing in the faith that all is well, that actually is helping the situation.
Yeah, what I just want to let everyone know is none of these things are going to be soliciting for any tithes or money. I mean, all that is up to you without any obligation whatsoever.
That's right. So now we come to the Daily Word segment.
Yeah, and we like the Daily Word because
it's not
just for little old ladies. And speaking of someone who's not quite a little old lady, we got Mr. Michael Penney.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, guys, what's going on? Honored to be here.
Oh, man. We're excited to have you on the show.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me on. This is fantastic.
Well, dude, it's the least we could do. We know you let Daryl in on your podcast recently.
Oh, my God.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, speaking of letting it go and let it rip, I was bragging about how I was in the Coast Guard, and for our listeners or people don't really know that the Coast Guard was was the first branch of service we ever had.
Yeah.
And I proudly exclaimed how, it was put into effect by Thomas Jefferson. And then as soon as we were done recording, about an hour later, I was like, meathead, it was George Washington. And I was like, oh, well, let it go. Let it rip.
Well, what's the name of the podcast?
He's going to tell us.
Yeah, the podcast is Cigars and Sea Stories. And Cigars and Sea Stories is a Marine initiative. What we do is we empower our fellow veterans by sharing stories of those who are going out and just adding value to the world. That's what we're all about. So we invite every Marine, FMF corpsman onto the show. Come and be our guest. Join the conversation. We interview prominent veterans such as Daryl, across the different spectrums. We love hearing about how they're adding value to the world, how they're causing positive, effective change in every situation that they find themselves. And it's a truly uplifting experience. It's great having candid conversations with guys that would otherwise be viewed as untouchable. Oh, my goodness, he's got a podcast. He's got a radio show. Oh, I can't possibly reach out to this guy. No, man, we're all in this veteran community together, and what we love, because, Marines were kind of a hardcore breed, but one of my biggest things is I'm not the biggest religious guy in the world, but I'm very much so a spiritual guy.
Correct. Yeah.
I completely understand. I found God as I understand him, and one of the biggest things that I love hearing is how different spirits of veterans aligned in order to succeed in a mission.
Yeah.
And I can go through all the different interviews that we've had, and that are coming up on the podcast right now. We just hit our 8th episode, but we've actually got another 20 or so that are, pre-published, ready to rock, that are going out there. And there's just so much good content that's about to come out. It's funny, actually. The vast majority of our interviews, to include with Daryl here, have all been 2-part interviews. And a lot of folks are going, hey, you might want to trim that back. And I'm going, why would I ever cut anybody off?
Yeah.
We get flowing into the sea stories, talking about how, this mission, that mission, our spirits align. And a lot of guys, they don't put 2 and 2 together. It goes hand in hand with this let go, let God, the word of the day. And just, I always tell guys, I'm like, look, bro, You're a Marine. When you step down those yellow footprints, we're all facing in the same direction, and we all wanted to join in on that same mission and jump on that journey together, and thus, carry out mission success and what have you. And that's what it's all about. We go at it and tackle it with love.
That's amazing.
It's awesome. Well, you want to
Dude.
read the Daily Word for us? Because that was the perfect introduction, man.
Yeah. Dude,
Yes,
this is awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah. Let me just say, the veteran community through Daryl has been such a big part of our show. We've had so many. I mean, it is awesome. We had Joe Williams. What was his
Army sergeant?
rank?
No, Marine sergeant.
Marine
What am I
sergeant,
saying? You know
right?
Joe Will. He knows Joe Williams, the
He's
artist.
a fellow jarhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's so great for us, for me, for the world.
Wait, Becky Watson
Becky
is
Watson,
a Navy officer.
for many years. How long was she in the Navy for?
She
23
retired,
years or
yeah.
26 years?
Something incredible.
Yeah, but man, and it's like it's been such an important part of our show. So I just want to thank you.
And
all
you know
for
what?
that.
I want to say one last thing before you read it. What I love about you, what you're doing, Michael, and what we do just by happenstance is a lot of time most civilians view veterans as like this separate little group, that's kind of like either mentally, unstable or just, and I hate to say that, well, they're not really that bright, so they're protecting us. But what this does is awaken people who may have that attitude. I'm not saying everyone has that attitude, but I know
also
a lot
think
that
that
do. It awakens them to,
Yeah.
wow, man, these guys are not only warriors,
Yes.
these guys are not only protecting us,
Right.
they really love. These guys are so much more.
That's what I was going to say.
than
There's a
I
lot of
thought.
groups that think they might even be against military acts, but they have so much more in common
Yes.
with these very people than they could ever even imagine.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the best part. The reality, the love that's there and the connection and the beauty of that. Dude, it's so much more inclusive than a lot of people think.
Yes. And that's why we love you, brother.
Yes, we do. We're getting
Thank
spiritual boners just talking about it.
You're allowed to say that on this episode. only because there's a Marine.
I can, you know what? The FCC can't touch me on the podcast, but I have a sign that says no swearing in front of me because the rules are entirely different on my show. But yeah, I mean, I tell you what, it's one of these things, honestly, everything that I've ever done in my life, and this is what I had to come to the conclusion on, everything that I've ever done in my life, I've done out of love.
True.
I'm one of those guys who was in my own way for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, I let fear get in there and kind of dictate a lot of those actions, but I knew deep down inside my heart was taking me in the right way. I mean, I
Yes.
joined the Marine Corps out of love. We use
Yes.
terms like God, Corps, country, always faithful. I mean, it was an act of love. Going
Yes.
overseas, going into combat, love of country. That's exactly why I went into it. I mean,
awesome.
I tell people this all the time. Okay, I go everywhere and I let my heart do the talking and do the walking because I've never memorized a song by head. I couldn't recite a poem to you by head, but I can do those things by heart
Yeah.
because I honestly, truly want to commit them, which means, hey, out of my heart, I can use the tool up top, the brain, in order to harness that power and what have you. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. A lot of folks, they just think, hey, all right, this is a hardcore dude. I'm a hardcore dude because I love the mission. I love the Marine Corps. I love my brothers, and when they're disrespected, it's easy for a lot of guys to jump out of their skin and start,
Yeah.
just going crazy, going haywire and stuff. And it's like, no, brother, they just don't understand. They just don't get how much you love that mission, and
Yes.
that's one of the things that I love being able to share across the spectrum. So,
Well, speaking about loving missions, let's jump into the Daily Word.
Yes.
let's do it. So the daily word is let go, let God. I let go of expectations and trust God. A team succeeds when all players do the best they can in the roles they have accepted. Teams falter when members lose their focus and worry about their performance of others. So it is in life. My role on the team of humankind is to align with the divine spark within and shine my light into the world. I own my power and my life. I release any temptations to manage those around me or micromanage the world. I let go of how I think things should be and do my best in every circumstance. Spirit is expressing in and through each person and situation, looking past appearances. I behold the Christ in everyone I see. I respond to all with love. I let go of expectations and trust God. All is well. Trust in the Lord and do good, so you will live in the land and enjoy security. Psalm 37:3.
Oh, that's it. Trust. And I can't believe you just told ahead of time what you just shared coincides perfectly with this example they gave.
Yes.
Because having a team that you can trust through love, and ultimately trusting that God's working through all these people in my life, then I could let go of my concerns over managing them. I know I can just do what's expected of me, and everyone else fill in with what's expected of them, and they'll work intuitively, and it always turns out better.
Dude, that's another part of letting God do it, is sometimes you're God in my life, and Mike's God in my life, and Jeff Comfort's God in my life. So when I let God do it, that also means letting my wife do it, or letting the people around me do it, and trusting that God is going to work through them, and then we're going to get this, whatever it is, completed.
Yeah, we don't micromanage Jeff Comfort.
That's right.
We don't hassle Michael Penney about what he should do or not do on today's episode.
That's right.
We just said we need your Skype address, and here's the Daily Word.
It could be a dangerous thing. It could be real dangerous. No, it's funny. God, to me, when I first came to understand the power that be, it was an acronym. Somebody told me good, orderly direction. For me, what I couldn't understand was the spiritual aspect of, hey, when I think of my buddy Chris in Texas, he calls me. When I send out those loving vibes, I get a text from the wife or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think I mentioned this to you. It was probably a week or so ago. I was all over the place, man. I'm running a business. I got to write over here. I'm authoring a book. It's just a mile a minute. And the lawn's got to be mowed, all of these other different things. And I look at my wife, and I just sat down on the couch, and I said, you know what? God doesn't want me to do anything. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, honestly, I could run out into the woods. I could break down. I could do a billion push-ups. I have no idea. I sat down on the couch, and I just chilled. And the phone started to ring. And it was like, I told you that I needed to mow the lawn. It was like a jungle out there. It was like 2.5 acres a yard. It was 3 feet tall. And lo and behold, it was a fellow Marine. And I was like, Fritz, what's going on, man? What's a good word? He's like, hey, brother, I heard that you need your lawn mowed. Wow. I got a riding lawnmower for free. Got another veteran who's leaving town, needed some work done, what have you. It's yours. And I'm just...
This is how this stuff works.
Wow.
I'm telling you, you stop fighting it. It's like that current. You stop fighting the undertow, the riptide, and you just kind of go with it, and you're like, wow, man, things just start to unfold.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, this lawnmower, it's, I think it's beautiful. It's, it's flat black and what have you. Yeah, it's got its little nuances. It bogs down in the hills, but I'm telling you, I've got a big, huge grin when I'm riding that thing around the yard. I'm like, yes.
I gotta read this, because this came up several times in the past few days, and it's exactly what you shared. It's a affirmation from Your Word Is Your Wand. It says, never do today what intuition says to do tomorrow. Meaning, like, you knew intuitively, let it go, right? And ring, because if you raced out there, I firmly believe if you raced out there and that call would have never came in.
That's right.
He would have thought of someone else to give it to, because the channel would have been shut on your end.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. Well, we got to go to break.
Yes.
So just stand by, Michael, and we'll talk to you during the break. And for our guests, you want to read our favorite outro?
Yes. All right. Well, should we thank Michael now as well?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll thank Michael. And
Cigars and Sea Stories.
What's the website?
Yes, cigarsandseastories.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Player FM.
Wonderful.
So, Cigars and Sea Stories, that's the name of it. And it's just Marines empowering our fellow brethren.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll have the joke of the day, the listener mailbag, and more. So thank you for listening to Funniest Thing on Unity Online Radio.
This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
All right, dude.
That was awesome. I can't believe your
my
inspired
God.
speech about the Corps was exact. It was almost like
My God,
a
I
perfect
know.
about teamwork and
Yeah.
trusting and not
Oh, my
worrying about
God.
what the other guys are gonna do.
Yes, sir. I tell you what. You know, it's funny. It's one of those things also. You don't even think about it. You're just told, hey, you got to go to the edge of the cordon, the perimeter that you've got around the building. You got to maintain security. Do I look over my shoulder to see if my buddy is maintaining security? Of course not. I know that he's maintaining security. That's it. I got faith.
Faith.
And if I did, I'd be losing security.
That's right.
And
That's right.
That's what it's all about. That's why I needed to grab those 3 other Marines and just harness this mission and this power. I'm telling you,
That's
add
awesome.
value. Add value to every situation you find yourself in,
Amen.
brother.
Well, you just added value to our day and this show, man. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Oh, it's a privilege and an honor. Seriously, thank you for having me on.
All right,
It's
man.
great to know you. I'm so blessed to have you in my life,
Yeah,
man.
and I'm glad to be on the train with you now, brother. Love you, man.
So we'll
Thank
catch up
you.
with you later.
All right, take care. Be well, gentlemen.
All right.
You too.
Bye. All right. So let's see. I got a reading from here.
That was awesome.
That was amazing. Are you kidding me?
We got a joke.
So we'll go this reading, which is relaxed because it's all good.
Relax.
Don't do it.
And then we go into our
Joke.
letters. Oh, joke real
Joke
quick.
and then letters.
And we got to share our...
Yeah, I'll read Rachel Gallant. Then we have the question from
Flores. We were
Flores,
born
and we
this
have a
way.
couple of little tiny notes from Noel and Stephanie, and we'll be good.
Yeah. She mentioned about finding this, right? In your letter that you're reading?
Yeah.
Perfect.
How about this? Let's see here.
Oh, listen, it's...
We now return to the funniest thing. Here are your hosts, Daryl and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio.
We're back. Let go and let God do it.
That's right.
If you're just tuning in now, I must say you gotta move the scrubbing bar back
Oh my
and
goodness.
at least listen to the second segment with our guest Michael Penney because it was outstanding.
Oh my god.
But we'd really appreciate it if you went all the way to the beginning because then you'd get to hear us too.
That's right. Michael Penney was like spiritual Viagra, man. It was
You're not
amazing.
kidding.
Incredible. Really got the juices flowing. That was incredible.
I know.
That was incredible. Cigarsandseastories.com is where you can find Michael Penney's podcast, also iTunes.
Yes.
And Daryl, there's an episode with Daryl on there. It's awesome. Man, I feel so empowered.
I know.
All right, so we got a quick reading.
And then you wondered how these Marines sobered me up with love.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
They're the best.
We got a reading from Daily Guidance from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue, and it says, relax because it's all good. God is omnipresent, which means that the divine is everywhere and within each person and thing. All that you see is God. It's impossible for anything or anyone to be apart from heaven, no matter how it might appear. Cling to this knowledge today. In any situation where you feel fear or stress, tell yourself, this is God. This reminder relaxes away the worry that something could be out of order. You'll recall that you're safely guided in all circumstances and need only to listen and follow that guidance with faith. Today, remember that the divine is within you and every person. It's all around you. As you focus on the fact that it's all the Creator, you experience heaven's enveloping love. Apparent problems begin to vanish through undreamed of solutions. Relax right now because it's all good. The thought for today is I remind myself that everything and everyone is God in truth. I see the divine within myself and all others today, relaxing with the certain knowledge that heaven is in charge. There is nothing to fear.
Oh, I could let go of my concerns and let God do it.
Michael Penney gave the best example of that,
Oh,
man,
my
with his
God.
lawn and the lawnmower. Goodness gracious.
This show is action-packed. Speaking of action-packed.
Oh, did you hear about that young woman who brought her fiance home to meet her parents?
No, what happened?
Well, after dinner, her mother tells her father to find out about the young man. So the father invited the fiance into his study for a drink.
So, what are your plans?
I'm a Bible scholar.
Bible scholar? Admirable. But what will you do to provide a nice house for my daughter to live in, as she is so accustomed to?
I will study, and God will provide for us.
And how will you buy her a beautiful engagement ring, such as she deserves?
Well, I will concentrate on my studies, and God will provide for us.
And children, how will you support children?
Don't worry, sir. God will provide, replied the fiancé, and the conversation proceeded like this.
Yikes.
Each time the father questioned him, the young idealist insisted that God would provide. Later, the mother asked, "How'd it go, honey?" And the father answered,
Well, the bad news is he has no job and no prospects. But the good news is he thinks I'm God.
"Yeah." All right.
Oh, we got some doozies, Gabby. Look at what she's carrying. She's dragging a giant postal sack in here. Whoa!
Oh, my goodness.
Are you going to kick this one off?
All right. I would like to read this first letter, which comes from Rachel Gallant from Manchester, New Hampshire. She said, "Hello, Daryl and Ed. It's true. When you hang out around Walden Pond, it's honestly is a spiritual vortex. You leave feeling very different from when you arrive." So she sent us a package that had a nice card from Walden Pond, as well as this pole.
And what was this, Ed? Do you want to share?
It says, "Your fishing pole I gathered right near the site where Thoreau's cabin was built." That's amazing. "I caught the rainbow trout with my hands." Haha, very slow-moving fish in that pond. And if you look at our YouTube episode or go to our DarylandEd.com, you can see a video of us opening the gift. And you can see the fish, which will forever be hanging in middle school studios. It says, it is always so much fun sharing these God-given creative gifts with you. In the light and joy of his love, Rachel.
Oh, I think I got
Oh,
a
my
big...
gosh.
Yes, we appreciate. She also requested a copy of my book, What If Godzilla Just Wanted a
Man,
Hug?
fantastic.
And we just love our fans. We love your mail. We appreciate everything you send us. It just makes our life.
Earlier today, and you mentioned this earlier, on our 18 Days Meditation on our Funniest Thing fan page on Facebook, Stephanie Havelka from Laguna Beach said, "A little humor with a peaceful message. These two are my friends, and their radio show, Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed, will pleasantly surprise you, I promise."
Yeah, I took that as, well, they're kind of goofy, but there's good stuff in there. And then I turned Ed, are we not serious enough? Should we be wearing suits?
Maybe that's because Noel Bax from Culver City said, "You're so hood," because you had that hardcore baseball hat and you did that face. He said, this was perfect while I sat and did my morning ritual. And then in parentheses, on the can.
Oh. Wait, there was one more thing someone asked us.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the next piece of mail. Why don't you go to that one?
I
Right
think
there.
you have that one.
No, you have it.
Oh, no. Oh, this is from Kate Flores, West Orange, New Jersey.
Yes.
She wrote in a reference to our 18 Days with Daryl and Ed, the mini Course in Miracles. Mm-hmm. It says, "I was wondering if you guys practice the faces you make before the shows. You're both quite entertaining." Well, to be honest, we can't take credit for that. We were actually born with these faces. We're glad they're funny. Now at least we could see that as a positive thing. But growing up, I don't think we thought that way.
What should we do now?
Well, I think I hear...
Oh, hey, guys.
Wait, is that Elvis? Or is that Eddie Money?
Oh, Eddie Money.
No, it's Elvis. Wait.
It's New York.
It's Jesus.
Oh, my God. Guys, if you're willing to let go of your... all this stuff this crap that's going on in your head. I know you guys are still hanging on to some crap in your head right now, but if you guys are willing to let go of that, I got something for you.
What do you got, Jesus? Eddie Money or whoever you are?
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you drop your bags? No need to fight. I got 2 tickets to paradise. I got 2 tickets to paradise.
Oh, time to read. Well, thanks for joining another episode. with Funniest Thing. You can visit DarylandEd.com to find easy links to everything we do, including the Funniest Thing podcast on iTunes, our YouTube page,
CigarsandSeaStories.com,
our Twitter at Daryl and Ed, and the Funniest Thing fan page on Facebook.
Michael Penney!
And as always, thank you for being a part of Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed on Unity Online Radio.
2 tickets to paradise. Won't you drop your bags? No need to fight. We got 2 tickets to paradise. We got 2 tickets to paradise. Yee-hoo-hoo! Woo!
Thank you for listening to The Funniest Thing with Daryl and Ed. Listen in every